Welcome back, everybody, to Monday night's Whatcha Watchin, the show where we watch stuff for your entertainment so you don't have to. That's right. This week we're talking War for the Planet of the Apes. More like Battle for the Planet of the area of the Bay, but whatever. We'll get into that a little later on. A little bit of trailer trash talk, some who's watching what. Get on to the feature a little bit later on Flicks Not to Miss. Me? Well, they call me the podcast host of Yewa. That's right. And him over there, well, I don't know what his tagline says because I haven't seen it yet, but that's Collier Wilmes, podcaster to the 80th. What? What's that say?
No, because my tagline, if the video goes down,
ever.
Yeah,
there it is. So emotional. That's right.
Yeah, so emotional.
So emotional. Oh my God. Then heaven help us. We are going to be talking about Planet of the Apes. Apes. Hey, if you're just tuning into this and it's not Monday night at 8 p.m. Pacific, you're not watching live. So that's when we are. You can find us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/watchingvids. Real easy place to find.
On that Facebook page, you can share what you're watching so we know what you're watching, along with you guys knowing what we're watching.
Share. I can't figure it out, Hey, by the way, click the like and subscribe button here in YouTube and hit that little bell notification, and it'll actually tell you when we're on live or have a new video uploaded. Cole is actually going to be going on location again, and we were going to go into hiatus for a little while. However, he has saved y'all from that because he's moved it on over to going live from location to keep what you're watching going all through the month of August and September.
Well, I'm going to figure out some way because I don't want to leave you guys hanging for so long. I love you guys so much.
Exactly. 6 weeks off a hiatus show that's only got 50 views a week is not something we really want to do. All right, let's get into a little bit of trailer trash talk this week. Holy crap. My Friend Dahmer. Indie flick. Creepy. Just creepy. If you don't know who Jeffrey Dahmer was, he was a serial killer that ate people. That some really horrible things happened, and this is kind of like the story of his high school years.
Back in the high school years, when he was just a quirky teenager.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to hurt nobody. My Friend Dahmer. Yeah, I'm probably gonna skip that one. I'm just not real big into serial killers.
This just comes off as another one of those like that movie they made off the life of Ted Bundy, where
My Pal Gacy, yeah, whatever it was.
Where, when you watch it, it just is so it's not creepy in the sense that it's a creepy movie. It's creepy that they kind of play it off too quirky. A film that's about this very fucked up individual. And they just have these comedic moments in it. Just like, I don't think this is how I would portray this sort of subject matter. But hey, what's on you guys?
Hey, watch it and make sure your kids aren't doing crazy shit like that. How about that?
Yeah.
Next up on Trailer Trash Talk was The Vault with James Amadouche Franco. I'm sorry. I heard that he's a douche on the internet somewhere. That's my opinion. Yeah, you call him the man Franco because you think he's the greatest actor on the planet. Me, not so much.
I just call him that because you hate him.
I don't really hate him. I've liked him in a lot of movies. There's just a lot of stuff I don't. This one's really creeping on me. This is one I'll probably watch. They come in to rob a bank, and there's an ancient vault in the cellar that they make them open, and bad things happen when they do that. But James the Douche Franco.
James Franco with a porn stash, and then I saw, speaking of porn stashes, I saw one of the girls that was from that Orange is the New Black Netflix show that I was forced to watch many years ago. I never watched it.
many episodes of. I feel so bad for you. I don't watch movies about prison. That's just horrible. And finally this week on Trailer Trash Talk, Honest Trailer got a chance to do last week's feature, Ghost in the Shell. That's right. They finally give you an honest look. It was Ghost in the Shell, and they agree with me. I mean, they totally destroyed it. They didn't even The plot line was completely. I'm watching all the commercials for it now, and it's like all these statements I'm giving you. There's just no ending to them, and they're completely wrong.
I felt like visually, the fact that they show clips of the anime next to clips of the movie displays what one thing I wanted to say on the last episode was the cinematography was fucking horrible. You could barely see anything. In the anime, everything was so bright.
Other than the fact that Scarlett Johansson does not have a vagina.
Well, she's a robot, but whatever.
Yeah, well, she had lungs. They gave her lungs, but no vagina. She's supposed to feel normal, but she doesn't have reproductive organs. I don't know how that works.
Do you want your weapon going around fucking people?
Well, if it's a weapon, yeah. I mean, how else are you going to get men to do what you want?
Damn.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyhow, the honest trailer for Ghost in the Shell hits it perfectly. I love that channel. Screen Junkies. Go check him out. Hey, Cole.
Hey, what?
What you watching?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. I was watching a bunch of good movies. I was in a mood for some good old-fashioned people punching each other and Sylvester Stallone yelling out his girlfriend's name. So I decided to watch Rocky.
Written and starred by Sylvester Stallone in Rocky. I was a trumpet player in high school, dude. So, like, you know, the Rocky theme was like, oh, we were all about it, dude. We had that thing nailed down 17 ways to Sunday. I didn't like this one.
Really?
I didn't like the first Rocky. I'll be honest with you. I didn't. I didn't like the actress's portrayal of his girlfriend. I didn't care for Stallone's already punchiness. I didn't understand the reason of that. I mean, he was fresh into boxing. Why was he so damn punchy? You know, there were a lot of things that I didn't care for in the movie. It led to I mean, the series was fantastic in the end. I loved I'm Drago, I'll break you. I mean, dude, yeah, I mean, it goes all the way through Mr. T. Come on. But I really, the first one was a little draw on me. I mean, especially since it was like, oh, you know, just a story about my life, you know, how everything just kept keeping me down until I got to be somebody famous. Actually, Stallone, your mama had money when her daddy died, and y'all didn't have to want for shit. So tell us again how you were a poor actor in New York. Anyhow.
I'm not going to get into that because, I don't know. But I'll just say that I like the movie. I love it. I don't give a shit what you say. It's one of my
differing opinions is what Watchin's all about.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies, and I know for a while until the teachers tried to make me change it that I had that quote of Mickey saying, "You Rocky, you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna crap thunder." As
crap thunder. That's right.
So
you're gonna crap thunder. You're gonna be greasy fast. You're gonna catch that chicken. Oh man, the penguin.
But also, I felt like I was in the mood for some good old Western shooting them up, so I watched the remake.
Now this one,
310 to Yuma.
This one's one of my favorite Westerns. I like 310 to Yuma.
Because they're gonna hang me in the morning.
Small-time rancher agrees to hold a captured outlaw who's awaiting a train to go to court in Yuma. A battle of wills ensues as the outlaw tries to psych out the rancher. See what's going on there, but yeah, whatever. IMDb, you let normal people write your friggin' synopsises.
I just really
Russell Crowe was awesome.
I love the ending.
Yeah,
to this where it just won that score called "Who Let the Cows Out."
Who let the cows out? Who?
Extra points to who named that score. And also, I just like that moment when they kill Christian Bale's character, and Russell Crowe just, when they give him his gun back, he just one-shots everyone and goes up to the other guy and just point blank shoots him in the chest.
Yeah, those guns were cursed.
Alert, sorry.
Well, whatever. You know, this show is all about spoiler alerts. Don't watch this show if you haven't seen this stuff before.
Didn't your mamas ever tell you about spoiled stuff?
And finally, wrapping your What You Watching up this week. What you were watching was Justice League.
Yeah, not the movie. I wasn't lucky enough to get sneak peek of the new movie, so I had to satisfy my Justice League craving for the old classic cartoon that I got to grow up on.
Are they really more powerful than Marvel's team, though? I mean, they're making a powerful statement.
Yes, because
Batman. Who's Batman going to beat on Marvel?
Actually, I'm pretty sure he can kill Captain America. Wonder. We've already established Wonder
Captain America's an enhanced human.
What?
Well, Captain America's an enhanced human. Batman's a billionaire with gadgets.
Yeah, but also he's the one who's trained himself to peak physical condition. He knows almost every form of fighting. He's a master strategist.
And Captain America heals fast.
Yeah, but
what's your point?
Plenty of time in the comics when they've had Marvel DC crossovers. Anyways, we're gonna get off track. Don't you bait me into this. We will have a special segment of Marvel versus DC.
I led you right down that alleyway. I sure enough.
I knew you were going to do that.
7 of the most formidable heroes.
DC wins, though.
DC
Suck
wins.
It, Marvel fans.
I don't know. I think Iron Man friggin' just fries the skin off of Green Lantern. I mean,
but here's the trump card that DC has is Superman. End of story.
Well, I mean, Marvel has Thor.
Well, you know what? Thor doesn't compare to Superman, but in the end, this show is awesome. Also, Rev,
the son of Odin, doesn't compare to Superman.
Rev, we digress on this. Rev, what are you watching?
There you go. I started out watching Total Recall on Schwarzenegger. A man goes forth for a virtual vacation memories of the planet Mars, and an unexpected and harrowing series of events forces him to go to the planet for real. That was always one of the things that I liked about the original Total Recall was you really weren't sure. You really weren't sure whether or not it was in his mind. And I thought that was great because they left it that way. Perfect portrayal of sci-fi movies from the late 80s, early 90s. The special effects were great. The scenes were awesome. There were plenty of special effects that were just fantastic. And Quado was so creepy. The dead-eyed alien that comes out dude's belly was just like, what?
Also, this movie has a girl with 3 tits. That's awesome.
Yeah, well,
like they say in Paul, 3 tits. That's awesome.
Exactly. I wish I had a third hand. It would have been made like really interesting there. But for sure, one of my favorite, sci-fi movies of the early 90s, Total Recall. And then I noticed, like, literally, this ended, and then this shitstorm started. This shitstorm, Total Recall, 2012.
Wait, what?
Sort of.
Rev, what is this? You're showing me a fake
this
movie
does
right
exist.
now. You're showing me a fake movie.
A factory worker, Douglas Quaid, begins to suspect that he's a spy after visiting Recall, a company that provides its clients with implanted fake memories of a life they would like to have led. It goes wrong, and he finds himself on the run. Never went to Mars. Didn't have any alien artifacts. Didn't create an atmosphere for a bunch of people.
So wait,
fail to see how this is a remake.
Are you telling me that they remade Total Recall without Total Recall?
Well, that's kind of, the characters were the people, and Doug Quaid was married to a fake agent, and, he picked the whore before she showed up, and then she showed up, and I don't know. I just, it wasn't very good. I'm not a big Colin Farrell fan to begin with. I'm really not. I mean, Phone Booth was about the only thing I've seen him in that was actually any real acting. Other than this, he just has a scowl on his face and grunts a lot.
I still,
and you can tell that he's hiding that Irish accent too, or Scotty. That's Irish. Yeah, you can tell that he's hiding an accent in almost every sentence he says.
I still think this is fake. It doesn't exist. No. Sorry.
Yeah, 43 is the median score of this shitstorm, and I just, watch it once to see that it sucks, maybe. Now, last Tuesday after the show, I did manage to go see Dunkirk. That's right. The story of the British exit of France during World War II. Basically, the Germans had driven them to the sea, and they couldn't get boats there fast enough to pick up all the men on the beach. And the Germans just picked them off from the air like they were fish in a barrel. Apparently, they activated the civil navy, and the men of Britain showed up with their little sailboats and their little fishing boats and shuttled these men off of the beach. Christopher Nolan, as usual, is presumptuous. He presumes a lot of things. The storytelling was fantastic. The visuals on it was amazing. The cinematography on it was great. However, there's a story that got left out. They tell the story of the Navy, and they tell the story of the men on the beach. And they tell the story of the fighter planes trying to defend the men on the beach. And they tell the story of the men on the little boats bringing everybody in. But at one point in the movie, they talk about there's 418,000 men on the beach. And then at the end of the movie, they talk about there was 303 or 308,000 of them rescued, which means there was 100,000 men dead on that beach. At one point in the movie, one of the men standing in the water waiting for a boat says, "Oh, tide's coming back in." And the other guy goes, "Really? How do you know?" He says, "Oh, the bodies come back." And there were like 8 bodies floating in the ocean. 8. Not 80, not 8,000, not 80,000. There would have been 100,000 dead men on that beach. And that story, unfortunately, wasn't told. And much like Saving Private Ryan, it is literally part heart and soul of what happened there. That in the time that they took them to rescue 300,000 men, 100,000 of them were slaughtered by bombs falling from the sky. That was actually the story that got left out. And that was the only thing that I love. The movie was great. It's as good as Saving Private Ryan was. However, the most important story they could have told, they left out.
Well, you know what? We've talked about this before, but I still stick by my explanation. When the men's go in the water, there's sharks in the water. And then the sharks
in the water.
They can come at you. They don't seem to be living. But then those black eyes roll over white, and they just come in and tear you to pieces. Oh, wait, wrong movie.
That's a different movie there, Chief. That was the other movie that I copped out. I did watch Jaws 1, 2, and 3 this week, but we'll talk about those another time, as we probably already have on this show. Speaking of time, it's time to say hi to our 5 friends that are watching live out there in internet land tonight. Let's go see friends out there live tonight with us. Of course, who's at the very top of the line? Starshine. She's swinging that
mortal enemy.
That's right. She's out there beating that tool around, making sure people do the right thing. Rod Dupree, he's in the place to be.
Oh yeah, he is. He's always in the place to be.
Of course, this weirdo Collier Wilmes, he's hanging out there in freaking pre-show. I don't know what that guy wants to do out there. He's kind of weird.
He likes to pick on people.
And then there's Gin. Gin back at you. I'm glad you're there with us, sir.
Get on you.
Let's see who's floating around out there. There's Sam Squanch Rivera. How you doing there, buddy?
How you doing, Sammy boy?
You're hanging out with us. Lance Windsor is partying in the house with us. There's our man, Mr. Dean Cooper. Of course, Kurt Harris and Squatchbox are out there in internet lands somewhere, so we'll say hi to them, as well as Gary and Whitney White. That's right. Make a muscle, Chris. Show us how strong you are.
Yeah.
That boy can cook, that's for sure. I'm up to a marriage offer of 2 cows, a goat, and like 3 chickens. And I have to move in next door or something. I don't know. We'll get there eventually. And with that, man, you know what time it is, Cole? It's time for me to hand it over to you while we talk about war.
We're handing it over to my side of the ring now. So we're gonna.
That's right, Mr. Collier Wilmes. Planet War for the planet of the apes. Together, strong.
Truly another thing to add to nerd culture, along with speaking Klingon and Star Wars, anything in Star Wars lore. So
I truly wish they would have made the chimps make their own language instead of learning English. I think that would have been like the AI at Facebook getting shut down for doing that. I think the chimp language would have been better, but whatever.
Yeah, they might do that in future sequel, prequel things. But anyways, we're not here to talk about future stuff. We're here to talk about War for the Planet of the Apes, the final in the prequel trilogy. At least revolving around Caesar. There's some talks about more, but this is it for now. And this is basically leaves where Dawn left off, giving us a bit of a quick synopsis of each one in a very clever way where it gives you synopsis of Rise and then it highlights Rise. Gives you a synopsis of what happened in Dawn, then highlighting Dawn. Then pretty much sets up what's going to happen in this movie, giving you the title, Warland, which we've already gave you a tease title for this movie. But pretty much it picks you up where what you're expecting. War between apes and humans. We see a troop of humans closing in on the ape settlement, and just a big battle erupts between the two, concluding in basically the apes kind of getting cornered until the cavalry arrives, and it's pretty much just like the ending of 300.
Yeah.
They get rained freaking arrows on the human troops. And
the opening scene to that was just, I don't know what they expected. They sent like 8 guys in to locate, 18,000 apes. I don't really know how many apes we were talking about here. That's still a confusing thing. Well, that's the confusing thing is where all these apes come from. I got news for you. There aren't 18,000 apes in the friggin' San Francisco Bay Area.
They've been fucking like rabbits, man.
But you get my point. I mean, there's maybe 80 apes in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm not sure where all these apes actually came from, but okay, we're there.
Continuity.
There's thousands of apes around. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But basically, after that, you have the survivors of the human casualties being taken prisoner by the apes, and you get a POV of one ape approaching, and it's Caesar, of course, because you just see all the apes dropping what they're doing, just be like, "Oh, Caesar!" He goes
King.
King Caesar. But basically, he takes mercy on this group of survivors, sends them back pretty much as a message of mercy,
right?
Which they don't take, of course, because the guy in charge is a massive dick, the colonel, who comes back.
Well, he's psychotic.
Yeah, psychotic with a god complex. Because what he just ends up doing is he comes back with pretty much a SWAT team into the apes. Waterfall Kingdom, pretty much. The hidden rebel base, pretty much, to kill off.
Your troops are hiding on Yavin 4. We know it, and now we're going there.
You may fire when ready. Bang! Oh, well, there goes Caesar's family. Oops, spoiler alert. Caesar's family done gets scratched off, except for the little baby, of course, because they're not going to go that far.
Well, they went pretty far in this one. They really did. I mean, there was a lot of oh shit moments in this movie.
Which that was the first of them, because it's like, oh, they're not gonna kill off his son that we grew to love in the last movie. Oh no.
Yeah, well, that would be the reason for the war. I mean, Caesar was willing to battle, but the war, came when. That was when Caesar changed.
Yeah, because at that point this became pretty much a revenge western at that point, because Caesar goes off on his own while the apes go to find pretty much the promised land.
Yeah, he was pretty much unforgiven. After that, it really was. Morgan Freeman and Clint Eastwood and that blind kid would be Maurice. They all got up on their horses and decided they was going for revenge and sent everybody on. They had to move everybody else on because the army was coming. Yeah, they heard that there were troops coming from the north to join up with these idiots that were coming there and killed his family. So,
which along the way, we meet one of the best characters in this movie. That there's just so much to say about this character. We meet.
Yeah, but there's so much that happens before that. That we're not even there yet. You totally missed out on the point of the whole plot to this movie before Bad Ape was when they came across the human man out there and the little girl.
Well,
and
the man
they
was
ended up
dead,
shooting.
and we found the.
No, the man wasn't dead. They killed him.
Oh, well,
He came out.
That must have been a
He
part
came
that
out
I
of the
was sort
house. He came out of the house with a gun on him, and he saw that they were, apes on horses, and he was trying to be, I'm just stay all calm, it's okay. And he went to swing the gun around, and Caesar blasted him with a shotgun from the side. Maurice and I can't remember that other poor ape's name. I can never remember the one that was there. Were in front of the guy, and then when the guy swung the gun around, friggin' Caesar got him from the side. Now, sadly, the gun that went off in the sound effects was like an AK, but Caesar was carrying a shotgun. So I'm not really sure if the people who were doing the sound effects knew what a shotgun was supposed to sound like or not, but apparently not.
Well,
then they get,
that's my bad. I was in the bathroom at that moment, so.
Oh, were you? Okay, well, yeah. That's when they discovered the little girl underneath the bed who couldn't talk. And not only could she not talk, but she really couldn't communicate at all.
But
and
here's
Maurice
also where another plot. She has a bloody nose.
Right.
We'll pick up on this later.
Right. Maurice pulls a doll out of his pack and coaxes the girl out from under the bed with it. The strange thing that I didn't understand was the girl had no idea what to do with that doll. I can understand being stricken to where you couldn't talk from a disease. And I can understand even being mentally confused from a disease, because dementia does that. So does paranoia. But it just seemed like she was totally without function, but yet the moment they pulled her out from under the bed and gave her that doll and told her to pet it, she became able to learn functionality. Well, if that was the case, then why was she learning functionality from her dad, who,
I feel like definitely from what I could gather from how this disease works, because we learn later on that this is pretty much the second stage of the initial virus that wiped out pretty much a lot of humanity. And this is explaining why in the original series for the Planet of the Apes, the humans are pretty much dumb animals. They're like cattle. Basically, I feel like what it does initially, it makes it very treated like cattle.
Yeah, I mean, it was but like I said, that was the weirdness of it. Was like the minute she started hanging out with these apes, she was able to become functional again. And I didn't if it was a feral disease where it was driving them to be feral, how did she become functional all of a sudden? She was even learning sign language from the apes. So they move off. They decide they're going to take this girl with them. Like Maurice is like, I can't leave her behind.
But Caesar's like, well, can't take her. She'll be dragging us down.
You can't. Well, I can't leave her behind. Well, then y'all got to figure some shit out, because that's going to happen. And that's when they move off with the kid and they meet our greatest character in the movie.
Bad Ape. Well, second greatest next to Caesar, at least.
No, I thought Bad Ape's character was far better than Caesar's character myself. But Bad Ape. And it took me a while to realize that was the poor thing's name.
Yeah, because that's pretty much what he's been called all his life, so he thinks that's his name.
I couldn't tell how old that chimp was supposed to be. I don't think it was supposed to be young.
No, because he says that he had a kid too when they have a heart-to-heart moment between Caesar and him.
That's right. So that one's that chimp's probably supposed to be in late 50s or so, but chimps don't really live to be that old. See, there's a whole lot of confusion that's going on in all of this.
They're taking some liberties, Rev. Just deal with it. Nothing's gonna be scientific.
I just didn't understand a lot of the things. Like, one of my complaints was the CGI in these things was their legs were entirely too long, and everybody was walking on two legs. Did evolution somehow like speed up? I don't think so. And all of their eyeballs changed from ape eyes to like white eyes. Now, Caesar had white eyes because he was born from his mother, who was already infected by the disease. And she had golden flakes in her eyes, and Caesar's eyes would have come out a little bit more human. But why did all the other apes' eyeballs change to almost human? That doesn't, evolution doesn't work that way. It would not have changed the physical attributes of their eyes.
We realize that, but this is, again, they're trying to get to the point where they're getting to the original Planet of the Apes. explain how
The original
world
Planet
got
of the Apes made no qualms about it that they were apes, not men. They were intelligent, smart, capable apes, but they moved around like apes. They moved around on four legs, like on four limbs, like apes.
What are you
They
talking
tried
about? The
to, at
original,
least.
they didn't. They still were.
Well,
on
I'm
two
sorry.
legs.
We're talking. I'm sorry. I'm confusing. I'm talking about the. Never mind.
Not the
Never
Tim
mind.
Burton one. We're talking about the 60s one.
That's
Where
yeah. I don't talk about the '60s one because that
Maniacs.
isn't pertinent to any of this. But fine.
That's an argument for another time again. You little son of a bitch.
Well, yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's fine. I don't have any problem with that. I just, the whole humanization of the apes is kind of beyond me because it wasn't about apes becoming human. It was about apes evolving intelligence and taking over as apes. The time of humans was done, not the time of apes becoming humans is new. And I just kind of got lost on me in this particular movie. That's all.
Well, basically, yeah. Now, where were we again? Oh, yeah, we just met
Bad
Ape. And we're there now. From that, he leads them because initially they were trying to find where this border was because they heard that the Colonel was supposed to be meeting up with more men at the border. So Caesar figures that he's going to meet up with more men that are going to help him wipe out the apes. So he's got to stop that. So Bad Ape, though he's initially like, no, can't go back, never go back. They pretty much twist his arm or try to, but then he, out of his own volition, says, okay, fine, I lead you back. They go back and realize that they ended up catching the big group of apes. And they're pretty much in... Yeah, they're pretty much in, like, ape Holocaust prison.
Yeah, they're in slave prison. They're using the apes to build a wall, and the next revelation is that these humans coming are not coming to join the Colonel. They're coming to fight the Colonel. So they're making these apes reinforce this giant wall to try and protect everybody on the other side of it from this force that's coming.
Remember that disease that we mentioned? Yeah, the Colonel's kind of killing people that have that disease so it doesn't spread. So word got to these other people and they're like, oh, we're going to come in. We're going to dethrone you, basically. So at this point, Caesar is caught in the camp because he doesn't want Maurice and Rocket going in with him. Because at that point, Luca... Okay, here's a rule of thumb. If you're around Caesar, don't be a gorilla, because gorillas always die protecting Caesar. It happened in Rise, and it happened again in this movie.
Yeah.
On the edge of camp, a soldier snuck up on him, and basically the gorilla took most of the hits for him.
Oh, and the way they treated these poor gorillas in this movie, like friggin', they called them donkeys because they carried all their gear.
Yeah, I remember having to explain that to you because I don't get why they call them donkeys. I was like, Rev, get it? Donkey Kong?
Well, no, I got why they called them donkeys because they were carrying all their gear like a friggin' pack mule.
Yeah.
I got that, but it just was like I didn't get the Diddy Kong reference. And that's when you explained the Donkey Kong thing to me.
Yeah.
Hey, I can't catch all the jokes.
That's why we got me here.
That's right.
So there, after that, you pretty much get your basic... It's kind of felt like it was a retread a little of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, where they're having to get out of this encampment.
Felt a little bit like Shawshank Redemption. When they were digging around in the underground trying to find their way out. There's a lot of things that I got the feeling of familiars, but
hey, there's one thing this had that Shawshank didn't. It had monkeys throwing shit at people.
That's right. When you want to get somebody's attention, just hit them in the face with some shit. Because rules are what's the only thing that keeps us from being monkeys in the trees, flinging crap at each other. That's right, not the clap. Please don't fling the clap at each other. That's horrible.
No, please don't, guys. And next episode on Dixon Holes with Reverend Cole.
That's right. Dixon Holes at Reverend Cole. Flinging the clap. Should you or shouldn't you?
But yeah, which basically, as they're trying to get out, this all eventually builds up to the war that they promised, but not between apes and humans, between humans and
Yeah, the little doll that Maurice had given the girl, she infected it, and when poor Caesar was locked up, she gave Caesar the doll, and they were very cruel to Caesar because they knew that the more they punished him, the harder the other apes would work to make sure that that didn't happen. I mean, they had him up on a crucifix, friggin'. I mean, they were trying to make Caesar out to be a Christ figure so badly that it kind of made me want to puke. It was like, okay, we get it.
There was religious connotations all over this movie.
Yes.
Because not only were they making him out to be a Christ, I felt like he was made out to be more of a Moses character.
Moses, yeah, Noah, when it started to rain.
Then we had the Colonel who had a God complex, who we learned who he had a son that got the disease that he had to shoot. And he's like, I had to sacrifice my only son for the good of humanity. I'm just like, getting some heavy God Christ thing going here.
So the men that he shot on the way up to that border that they killed weren't rebels in the waiting for them. Those were his own men that showed signs of the disease, and he just killed them on sight. Yeah. I wasn't sure where those people came from, the ones that Caesar and them found on their way. I wasn't sure if those were outsiders that they just came across that had the disease that they just killed on sight, or right then, whether they were his people. But now that I think about it, they were definitely his people. And that makes him dangerous. But he ends up finding that doll in Caesar's pen.
And he takes it. And we all know what happened. When he got back, he started kissing the doll. That's how he got infected.
He was flinging the clap at it. That's right.
Also, am I the only one who noticed that they tried drawing parallels between him and Caesar because of all the times we catch Caesar drinking heavily from his water jug, and every time we see the Colonel, he's drinking from his flask.
Yeah, but the flask is alcohol. What's in the cone is water because he gave it to the little girl.
Couldn't help that they were trying to draw a visual.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely like, segues. It was very strange. I wasn't disappointed in it. It's a great movie. I think it wrapped up the trilogy just fine. There's no reason to have any more of them. You could sit down in an afternoon and watch all three of these and not be disappointed.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this movie because the fact that, like I said earlier, well, I don't know if maybe I did or didn't say this earlier, but this really gives you something that's against your expectations, because when you go into a movie that's called War, which we'll talk a little bit more about that in my next point, it gave you a character study on Caesar because of the fact that it's pretty much the consequences of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes carry over heavily into this movie because they talk in length about what Koba did and how they're basically haunted by Koba.
Ape, not kill ape.
Ape, follow Koba now.
All right, well, let's get this one wrapped up here, pal. We're running long as it is.
Yes. So basically, final thoughts. Definitely see it in theaters. It's still running in theaters. Get your asses in those seats.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Go see it on the big screen because you'll be disappointed on a little screen if that's where the first experience is with it. I totally agree with you there. My final thoughts on it were, War of the Apes is, other than the little faux pas and the CGI and the humanization of the apes, it didn't take away from the story. It didn't take away from the plot lines. Bad Ape is amazing. I mean, I didn't see any of the previews for Bad Ape, so I didn't know he existed. So to me, it was a total surprise, and it was the only comic relief in the movie is Bad Ape. Otherwise, it would be so fucking depressing. You'd probably want to put a pistol in your mouth by the end of it,
or an arrow in your side,
Exactly. Well, Cole, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of What You Watching. That's right. Next week, who knows what we're going to talk about? We haven't figured that out yet.
We'll figure it out as we
You'll be on site by then. and we'll have to make a determination as to what we're going to watch. I'm going to go see Spider-Man Homecoming tomorrow. That's right. I'm going to get the cheap seats and go check out in the DX Theater tomorrow afternoon. Spider-Man Homecoming. So we'll have that to review for you next week.
Me and Rev are probably going to have a boxing match over Marvel versus DC.
Thor gets beat by Superman.
Exactly.
The son of Odin doesn't stack up against the son of Jal-El. Really?
The last son of Krypton. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's take Superman away from our yellow sun and fight, and then see what happens.
How about we take Thor's hammer away? How about that?
I think Thor would still beat his ass without the hammer.